Benji Bruce here with Speaking Lifestyle, and let's talk about getting you guys booked with speaker bureaus. Well, getting speaker bureaus to book you. How do you actually talk to bureaus? What do you do to actually get on their website? And you know, the whole shebang. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's see who's hopping on real quick. It's all about bureaus, speaker bureaus. That's what we're going to talk about today. If you have any questions about bureaus, make sure you ask them. What's up, Maggie? All right, let's see who else is hopping on. What's up, everybody? Whoever just hopped on as well. I can't see everyone else is hopping on, but what's up, everybody? So once again, today we're going to talk about strictly speaker bureaus. So how do you actually get in with the bureaus? What do you do? How do you get them to actually work with you? I've tried different methods in the past, pretty creative ass methods. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I tried some pretty creative methods to work with bureaus because just like everyone else, when you're starting out, your natural instinct is to think, you know what, how do I get someone to book gigs for me, right? So that's like your natural instinct in the beginning. It's a matter of, all right, I want to work with bureaus. Maybe there's an agent who can book me gigs. And so you naturally start to want to contact bureaus and all that. So I did the same thing in the beginning. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to actually get on the bureaus' websites, exactly what I did to get them to recommend me. Everything in terms of the bureaus. And the first time that I did something, I actually messed it up pretty bad. I'm sure I've ruined my chances of ever working with that bureau just because I don't know, I was working on a creative method and I kind of messed it up just a little bit. And then they were pretty pissed off at me. So I'll tell you guys that story as well. What's up, Paul? So yeah, I'm going to tell you guys the entire process in terms of working with the bureaus. But like I said, in the beginning, everyone kind of goes through this phase of, let me just kind of get someone else to book gigs for me. So it's natural to work with bureaus. And once again, I did the same thing. I was just thinking, how can I get bureaus to actually book gigs for me? And well, the first step is, how do you actually get bureaus to notice you? Because if they don't notice you, they're obviously not going to book gigs for you. And so the first step is just, I mean, what do you do? Like, you know that you can send them a video bio, but that rarely actually helps. So I'm going to tell you my story in terms of what I did and the 3 different methods that actually worked. The first method, like I said, it just bombed totally. I don't know what I was thinking, but the first method, it was just horrible. Then I came up with 3 other methods that worked just fine, and I started working with the bureaus. What's up, Catherine? So let's see. First things first, I do want to point out that nobody's ever going to book gigs for you. So you always want to have that in the back of your mind. This is probably the reason I haven't talked about bureaus so far. And I don't know if I'm ever going to talk about bureaus ever again. The only reason I'm really talking about bureaus is because a friend of mine the other day, he actually messaged me and he was like, hey, how'd you get on this bureau's website, right? And I completely forgot about him. Like, I completely forgot about the bureau. They have an old ass picture, like, I don't know, 2012 type picture, picture where when I had some hair, right? So they have an old ass picture on there. They have old fees and everything on there. And he was like, how did you get on there? So it just kind of reminded me like, hey, maybe I should talk about bureaus real quick. So let's do that real quick. Understand that most bureaus won't work with you in the beginning. So in the beginning of your career, they just don't want to work with you because you're basically a nobody to them. You haven't proven yourself to anybody, especially if you don't have a great website, none of that. You haven't proven yourself to anyone, so they're not going to work with you. And that's why in the beginning, everyone does the same things. I did the same thing. I was contacting bureaus. None of them were interested. I mean, some of them were nice. They were like, sure, we'll put you on the website, whatever. But none of them were pretty much interested because you're a newbie, so they don't want to request somebody that they haven't seen before, especially if your website's not great. They're like, oh, hell no. So they don't really want to work with newbies, which is why the bureaus always have the celebrity speakers on their websites and all that. Basically, the speakers who don't need bureaus, those are the ones who get booked by bureaus. But once again, I'm going to still show you some creative ass ways that I use to actually work with bureaus, okay? So a couple myths about the bureaus is, first myth is, once I get on their website, I'm good to go. All right, I'm on their website. Bam, I'm going to get gigs, right? They're going to book me. That is like a huge, huge myth. Once you're on the website, once you're on the website, that's like step 1 out of like step a million, right? Just getting on their website, it's not that hard. The hard thing is actually getting them to recommend you. And a lot of speakers think that once they're on the website, that poof, all these gigs are just going to materialize out of nowhere. That's not how speaker bureaus work. I mean, they'll put anyone on their website, to be honest. I mean, if they just feel like they're having a good day, they're like, today's a good day, and you send them an email, with the bio and videos, they'll say, sure, why not? Let's put you on the website, right? So the first myth is that just because you're on a speaker bureau's website, that doesn't mean you're going to get booked. So just keep that in mind. What's up? How do I say that? Ferry? Do I say that as Ferry? Ferry. I think that's how I say it. What's up, Jamila? But yeah, so understand that in terms of the speaker bureaus. That's the first myth that I want to talk about. And then also understand that they have their go-to speakers, entertainers. They have their go-to people. You're not going to replace them. It's going to take you a long time to replace any go-to person in the speaker bureau, because the speaker bureau, they already trust this speaker or this entertainer. They already trust a few of the people. So when someone says we want a leadership speaker, they're like, oh, bam, this guy, he's always doing really good. He always gets great reviews. So understand that just because you're on the speaker bureau's website, you're not going to replace one of the top people that they keep recommending. So just keep that in mind as you contact these bureaus. I was told that in order to get on a speaker bureau's website, you have to refer business to them. And it made sense. I said, you know what? If I refer them business, it's like giving them value instead of taking, right? I'm going to refer business to them. I'm giving them value. They're going to notice me. They're going to be like, wow, this guy's so booked up. He's giving us business. And that was a huge ass myth. I'm telling you, if you are doing that nowadays, it doesn't matter. Okay. So it's not about actually referring them business. They don't care. You can refer them business all they want. They'll take it for sure. Nobody's going to deny that, but that doesn't mean you're going to get put on their website. Doesn't mean you're going to get referred by them. There is no reciprocation in there. And the reason is because once again, nobody's going to put their reputation on the line for a so-so speaker. They just won't. You can refer them 10 gigs every single day. And if they look at your website and you have no videos and everything, they're going to say, we're not going to refer this speaker any business whatsoever. So that's why the whole referring them business just doesn't work. I don't know where this thing came from, but I know a lot of speakers talk about this. And once again, it was one of the pieces of advice that I heard about years ago when I was trying to get hired by bureaus. And it just doesn't work. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who thinks it works. It just doesn't work, because think about it from their perspective. If you're a bureau and people contact you, a speaker contacts you and says, hey, I've got an event that I can't do. And if you have other speakers who can do this event, you can send it to them, right? And they're thinking to themselves, who's this person? So they'll look you up, right? They'll look you up probably. They'll look at your website. But if your website sucks and it's just not great, you have no videos, nothing's going to happen. And so in the beginning, that's what happens with a lot of speakers is nothing just happens. So that's why it's a huge, huge myth in terms of referring them business. It just doesn't work. All right. What's up, Glenn? All right, let's see. All right, cool. So I got it. All right, got her name. All right. So let's see. So there's that. Now let me tell you the mistake that I made. So I knew that bureaus don't want to work with you unless you basically don't need them. So bureaus, the only way they're really interested in a speaker is if that speaker is either really well known or that speaker is insanely good, aka in demand. And so I thought to myself, how can I create the impression that I am insanely in demand? How can I do this, right? So what I did is I had my mom. So me and my mom teamed up, right? I was like, Mom, there's this speaker bureau right here. I need you to call this bureau. All right. So my mom called the bureau, and on the phone, she basically asked, like, hey, do you know this? By the time I was only doing entertainment, by the way, so I wasn't doing speaking. She's like, do you know this or what did she say? She's like, we're having an event. And then she gave him details. It's going to be here, whatever. She's, we're having this event. And do you know this guy named Benji Bruce? That's the entertainer that we want to go with. And do you know him? And so they just flat out lied. They're like, oh yeah. We can get in touch with him. Yeah, no problem. Right. So my mom was like, okay, thanks. Yeah, just let me know. So she hung up. Next thing I know, I get a call from this bureau. Now, I didn't answer the call because I'm like, you know what? I'm busy, right? I had nothing to do, but I didn't answer the call at the time. I was like, you know what? I'm busy. Decline. All right, I'll call them back. So they leave a voicemail. They're like, hey, Benji, we have an event for you, and we were taking a look at your website, and some client is requesting you and everything, blah, blah, blah. And so I call them back like an hour later. Yeah, hello. This is Mentalist Benji Bruce. Who am I speaking with? Like, oh, this is so-and-so from so-and-so bureau. And oh, we have someone who's interested in you. And I'm like, okay, so when is the date? You're like, oh, okay, well, the date is this. Can you hold the date? I was like, well, no. I was like, I can't really hold the date. I do have like another event that I'm actually talking with, and I can't really hold the date. They're like, okay, well, I mean, just hold the date for a little bit so I can call her and we can just say like, we're good to go. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I can't, but all right, well, we'll see. Right. And so we hang up the phone. They call back my mom. Right. And once again, my mom ignored him. Right. So my mom waited till the next day. And so my mom answers the phone again next day. You're like, hey, so we got Benji Bruce, and here's the rates, and here's all this, blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay, well, yeah, go with them, right? Book them. We want them. Book them. So they're like, all right, great. Hang up the phone. They call me back. I answer. Yeah, this is mentalist Benji Bruce. How may I help you? They're like, yeah, so we got so-and-so. We're good to go. And I'm like, oh, man. You know what? I just booked the date with the other event. I'm sorry. I just booked the date. And they were pissed. They were like, we told you to hold the date. We wanted you to hold the date. And like, they were absolutely pissed, right? And I was like, this isn't how I pictured it going inside of my mind. I didn't expect them to be pissed. And so they were absolutely pissed, hands down pissed off because I didn't hold the date or anything. And so I hung up. I was like, dang, all right, that didn't work out the way I thought. And so I basically just, it didn't happen in terms of me getting on their website, none of that. It just didn't happen. I just burned a bridge right there. And so it was a dumb mistake on my part because just because they thought I was holding the date, and then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I booked someone else, right? And so they were just pissed off at me. So I said to my mom, I was like, you know what, let's try it again, but let's do it a little bit differently, right? And I think I did the next one with a friend instead of my mom, actually. But it was very similar in terms of what I did. So it was like, okay, my friend calls them, and then this time I told them I was booked. So my friend calls them the same way. Friend, hey, yeah, so we wanna book a speaker, an entertainer, and do you know this guy named Benji Bruce? And yeah, we want to book him, right? And so at the time they called me. They obviously looked me up. They called me, hey, we got this person for you. We want to book you, blah blah blah, for this date. And I'm like, sorry, I'm booked up. And so they call the friend back again. Friend, oh, he's booked up. Benji's booked up. Okay, well, we can change it till next weekend. We can do it next weekend. I mean, this guy, I mean, we've heard about him. We can do it next weekend then. So the bureau calls me back. So they can actually change a date till next weekend. So, I mean, can you do next weekend? I'm like, you know, I'm sorry. I'm booked up for the rest of the year. I'm sorry, man. I mean, if maybe next year or something, but I'm booked up for the rest of the year. I hang up the phone, right? And so they tell my friends, oh, man, dang it, we really wanted them. Dang it. All right. They're like, well, we can recommend other speakers. You know what? We'll think about it. Click. And so instantly I created an in-demand presence with the bureau. The bureau calls me back, and then the bureau's like, hey, so can you tell us a little bit more about you? I mean, you're really booked up for the rest of the year. And so naturally there was a conversation going on. And so I gave them the info, gave them the video, the bio, all the other stuff that they needed. So that was one of the versions that I used. That was a smarter method to where I just said, no, I'm booked for that date, or I'm booked for the next day as well. And I'm just completely booked up for several months in advance. So it created this whole in-demand presence. So that was the one that actually worked compared to the first time I did it, just because I adjusted it a little bit. And so there was that version. Let's see. Then the other version, let me see. Okay. So the other version is similar. The other version, basically, once again, my friend called up the bureau. Hey, we're looking for a speaker. We're looking for a great motivational speaker, a speaker who's going to be the most amazing speaker in the world. Probably wears purple. But at this point, he didn't actually say anything in terms of my name. He just called the bureau the same way you would normally do, call or email. Hey, we're having an event. Here's the details. We just want a speaker. So that's what they did. They're like, okay, cool. So what type of speaker? Oh, we want a motivational speaker. All right. So here's a list of all our motivational speakers. And so the friend, he waited a little bit, like a day or a little bit over a day. And he goes back to them. He's like, I think initially I had my friend ignore them for a few emails. So they emailed and called him a couple times, and I had my friend ignore him, right? And then after they called maybe third or fourth time, he answered, and he was like, oh, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry about that. We actually found this other speaker that he wasn't on your list, this guy named Benji Bruce, and we're going to go with him instead. And so this is the method where they declined the speaker bureau. So kind of like how people tend to decline speakers, like, oh no, I'm sorry, we went with someone else. That's exactly what I did to the bureau, to where, once again, the bureau was, it was just funny at the time. Everything that I thought of was funny at the time. So it was like, once again, that the second method was my friend called them up. Hey, we have an event. Here's the details of the event. We need a motivational speaker. All right, bam. They have a list of motivational speakers. They give a list of however many, 7, 10, however many they want to give. They give a list of all these speakers. Obviously, I won't be on there. You won't be on this list because you're not working with the bureau yet. And then the friend ignores them because remember, like, if a person actually decided to go with another speaker or another entertainer, what's going to happen is they're going to basically ghost. They're going to ignore the bureau. They're going to be like, oh, we already booked a person, so let's just ignore them. Maybe they'll go away or something, right? And so that's what would happen. And so the friend would ignore them a little bit, and then once they called maybe the third time or emailed the third time, the friend would now answer, and then the friend would say, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, sure, all the list of the 7 speakers that you listed, they look great, but we saw this other guy, Benji Bruce. That dude was freaking amazing, so we had to go with him, right? And at that point, you're now on the bureau's radar. They're like, who's this guy? What? We just recommended freaking Les Brown, Tony Robbins. They're going with Benji Bruce? What? Who's this dude, right? And so that's kind of what happens. And what would happen is if the bureau didn't actually message me at that point saying like, hey, who are you, by the way? Like, we were thinking about putting you on the website. So if they didn't do that to me, I would wait for about a week and then I would message them, or under a week, actually, maybe like 4 days, really. I'd wait just a little bit and then I would message them and I would say like, hey, I'm actually working with this client who actually mentioned you guys. And then I would now go and talk to the bureau, right? So that was the second method. The final method that I use, it's what I call the money method. The money method actually happened by accident. And the reason is because I was actually on a speaker bureau's website, and all I did, I looked at the website in terms of what they had on me, and it was like an old speaking fee. And so I just messaged them. I was like, hey man, can you actually update the speaking fee? So they said, yeah, no problem. And I thought to myself, wait, I can actually do that to all these other bureaus who don't have me on their website. So I messaged the other bureaus, like bureaus where they didn't know about me, they never heard about me, nothing. I sent them a message, the same message. I said, hey, John, yeah, I was actually wondering, can you update my speaking fee from $5,000 to $20,000? Because, I mean, I noticed that it's an old speaking fee, by the way. So can you update that real quick? And they would message me back like, huh? What? Who are you? I don't actually see you on our website. Like, but what are you talking about? Increase your, what? Who are you? And so they're confused by the email. And at that point, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I actually confused you with a different bureau. I mean, would you like to put me on your website then? And so that's kind of what I did at that point, right? And so the money method was just a matter of sending an email to one of the bureaus saying, hey, update my presence on your website. Even though you're not on their website, I just told them like, hey, can you update my speaking fee? Can you update my photo, update my bio, update my video, whatever updates I wanted. I was just like, update this stuff, right? So I'd ask them to update it even though I'm not on their website. And they're thinking like, who's this dude? What? And when I told them to update the fee, it was a drastic change. So it was like literally from 5,000 to 20,000, not like 5,000 to 7,000. It was a drastic change. So it was, and the reason is just because, once again, think about it from being an in-demand speaker, an in-demand perspective. If you are really in demand, your fee is going to skyrocket. And so that's why I did the whole money method in terms of the fee like that. I was like, hey, can you guys actually update my fee? I saw on your website that it was only $5,000. It's actually $20,000 now. So can you update that? And they're like, they would always respond back confused as all hell. I'm so sorry. I don't see you on our website. Yeah, I mean, what's this? Update your fee? They'd be confused as hell, right? And at that point, that's when I would have a conversation with them. Oh, I'm sorry. I confused you guys with another bureau that I work with. Would you like to put me on your website? And so that's how the conversation basically went. So those are the 3 creative methods that I use. Whatever you do, don't do what I mentioned the first time where I screwed that up the first time. But once again, I'll go over those 3 creative methods again real quick for those of you who kind of just hopped on. So the first method is what I call the in-demand method. Basically, a friend would call, they call the bureau, they ask for you, whatever your name is, they ask for you, the bureau is going to always say yes. They're going to be like, yeah, we can book that speaker. When the bureau calls you or emails you, you tell them you're booked up. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm booked up. And so they call the person back and they say, hey, so your speaker is actually booked up. And then the guy says, all right, well, we'll change it to next weekend then. So they call you back. They're like, oh, they're willing to change the date to next weekend. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm booked up for the entire year. Like, I'm booked up for several months in advance. I just can't do it, right? You just turn them down altogether. And then at that point, your friend just like ignores them. They're like, sorry, we can't get Benji. Your friend's, oh, fine then. Don't want another speaker. And so that's kind of what your friend does. That's version number 1. Version number 2 is the decline method, to where you decline the speaker bureau. When your friend calls the bureau, asks for motivational speakers, your friend calls, asks for motivational speakers. They give a list of motivational speakers that they think is good, and then your friend declines them. Your friend waits a couple days and says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in any of those speakers because we found this speaker, Benji Bruce. We found this guy, and whatever your name is, like, we found you, right? And so that's the third method. That's the second method. The third method is the money method, where you just email them and ask them to update something. You're like, hey, can you update my fee? Can you update my bio? Can you update my I should probably call this the update method, but you tell them to update something, update your fee, update your bio, update your video, update your headshot, whatever it is, even though you're not on their website to begin with, and then they're going to be confused, and then you can have a conversation from there. So those are the 3 main methods. Obviously, the easiest, well, not the easiest way, but the simple way is to literally just email them, to literally just go on their website and just say, hey, I'm actually a speaker, and can you place me on your website? That's actually the way that I started out with. I would just email them, and all you got to do is email them the stuff they want, the bio, the video, whatever stuff they want, right? So that's the simple method in terms of actually working with bureaus. Like I said, bureaus, they're not interested in you until you aren't interested in them. And so that's why in the beginning I had to get really creative in terms of creating this in-demand presence, because it's like, hey, man, I'm so in demand, I don't need you guys. And you got to create that aura around you if you want to actually work with bureaus. That's the first step, because they just won't work with newbies. They're just not interested. There's no reason for them to. Now, in order to actually get them to recommend you, though, this is like a whole new ball game. So once you get on their website, now you got to figure out, how do I get them to recommend me? Like, when people call them saying, hey, I want XYZ speaker, can you pop up inside of their head? Now, most people say like, oh, build a relationship with them and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's true. But build a relationship with people, that's like such fluff that there's no detail in it. So it's like, build a relationship, but what do you mean build a relationship? Should I take them out on a date? Like, what do you mean? Should I ask them to marry me? So it's like, build a relationship doesn't actually mean much. So in order for you to actually get them to recommend you, you have to be very clear on what it is they're recommending you for. Right? And this is why I keep telling speakers, stop describing yourself in stupid ways. Stop saying, I'm a transformation expert. I'm a heart and lion speaker. When you have the heart of a lion, that's the type of speaker I am. Stop describing yourself in stupid ways. Describe yourself in a way where people call someone or they Google someone and say, I want XYZ speaker. That's how you describe yourself. So what you do is when you're talking to them, when they're putting you on their website, you literally say, you say like, all right, literally word for word, when people say X, that's when I'm your guy. So that's literally what you tell them. When people say they want a motivational speaker, that's when I'm your guy. And even then, you want to get more detailed about that, right? So what I did is I said, when people say they want a very entertaining, motivational speaker, something different this year, that's when I'm your guy. And that I would say that to them because I knew that when people called bureaus and when people were just hosting events, they would always think, we want to do something different this year. We want to do something different this year than last year. And so I knew people would say that to a bureau. I knew they would say that in an email. We want something different this year. So I would emphasize that. I'm like, when people are looking for a very entertaining, motivational speaker, and they want something different this year, that's when you recommend me. That's when I'm your guy. And so that's what you have to do to bureaus. If you're a leadership speaker, sales speaker, whatever, You say like, hey, when people want a leadership speaker that blah, 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 that's when I'm your guy. When people want a sales speaker who is insanely motivational, that's when I'm your guy. So you have to tell them exactly what people are going to say, and that's when they should recommend you. And the closer you are to the client that's calling the bureau in terms of the wording that they're using, the closer you are, the easier it is to actually get the speaker bureau to recommend you. Because what's going to happen is you're reminding the bureau, hey, when people are looking for something different, like a very entertaining motivational speaker, something different this year, the closer you can get to the literal wording, then the speaker bureau is going to naturally think of you at that moment. So the speaker bureau, bam, they answer the phone. Hey, so-and-so speaker bureau, how can we help you? Yeah, we're looking for a really entertaining, motivational speaker. I mean, we just kind of want to do something different this year. You know, last year we had like some team building stuff and all that. But this year we want to do something different. And the bureau, the person at the bureau is thinking, oh yeah, Benji did mention like when people want something different this year and like entertain. Okay, I got the perfect guy for you. And so that's how you actually get recommended by him. And you have to do this. I can't stress this enough. If you're not clear on this, they simply will not remember you. They simply won't book you. And so you have to be very clear in terms of in terms of what it is their client says to them. And then you say, when people say this to you, that's when you recommend me. You got to be very clear on that. That's why I'm telling you, don't describe yourself in a dumb way. If you're like, I'm some transformational backflip expert, nobody calls a bureau asking for that. Like absolutely nobody. So you want to just think in terms of what do people describe me as when they're talking to someone else on the phone? That's how I'm going to describe myself as. So that's how you actually get recommended by them. Then let's talk about negotiation, okay? So there's this book called How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. Felix Dennis, he created Maxim magazine and all these other magazines. He was almost a billionaire by the time he died. And in the book, he actually says this about negotiations. He says, all negotiations arise from weakness. All negotiations arise from weakness. Basically, in negotiations, both parties want something because they don't have something. This is why the person who wants it the least tends to win a negotiation. So when a speaker bureau finally contacts you and says, hey, we've got an event for you. They're going to give you $5,000 for this event. It's going to be here, here, here. They give you all this information. The bureau might try a couple things with you. The bureau might say, all right, cool, we're good to go. We will actually give you the money after you present. After you're done with the gig, then we give you the money. That way we just kind of make sure that you show up to the event and then all that, right? So the bureau is going to try to do things like that with you. And you need to be in a position where you can say, hail to the MF and no. No, you ain't keeping my damn money. And that's the position I was in when I did this international event. Like one of my first international events, a bureau contacted me and they said, hey, Benji, we heard you're the most amazing guy in the world. I'm like, well, you heard right. Who's this? And like, this is a bureau and a client actually wants you. They want to bring you in. And how much do you charge? So I asked them a couple questions. All right, cost X amount. Okay, cool. We're going to go back and we'll let you know, right? They go back. They're like, all right, cool. So we definitely want to do it, or they definitely want to do it. Just send us a contract. Okay, cool. Send them the contract. I'm like, all right, I need a 50% deposit. Or no, this was an international thing. So I was like, I need 100% of it up front, right? And they got to pay for the flight and hotel and all that stuff. And so they messaged me back. Benji, I'm sorry. We actually keep the money until after you do the event. But I mean, after the event, like we'll send you 100% of the money. And I told them, I was like, no. It ain't going to work like that. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to get 100% of the money up front or I'm not doing the event. And this was like, it was like a little over 20,000. And I just flat out told them, I was like, no. I'm either getting 100% up front, like literally before I step a foot into the airport, I need to have 100%, or this just ain't going to happen. And so I knew that the client desperately wanted me. And so they came back. They're like, oh, okay, fine. We'll give you 100% of the money. They gave me 100% of the money. The reason I was able to do that is because I didn't care if I lost that gig. I wasn't willing to allow the bureau to keep my money. And I was never in a position of weakness. So like you said, in negotiation, you see, like, all negotiations arise from weakness. I wasn't in a position of weakness. If, let's say, I had no gigs lined up, let's say I had no money in the bank, let's say, I don't know, I desperately wanted the event, whatever, right? All this could have factored in. I could have compromised. I could have said, no, fine, you guys keep the money, whatever. I could have compromised. But because there was no weakness on my part, I just declined everything. I said, here's how it's going to be. Take it or leave it, right? And so you need to understand this, that when you're negotiating, if you don't get what you want, it's your fault. It's not the Bureau's fault. If the Bureau says we work this way and you work a different way, I mean, it's like either you say this is how I work, be gone, or you go into, you adjust to how they work. That's technically up to you. This is why I keep telling people you need to learn how to book yourself, build your own systems, because you can put yourself in a position like how I was, where I literally told them, they were like, I'm sorry, Benji, this is just how we work. Like, this is how we do it with all the speakers. And I said, and I'm sorry, this is how I work. Either you give me 100% of the money or this ain't going to happen. And so, and I wasn't kidding, by the way. So if they literally said, sorry, I would have said, okay, take care. And I wasn't kidding. It wasn't a fake out or nothing like that, right? And so you got to understand, if you're not getting what you want, it's your fault. Just don't let them keep your deposit. Don't let them keep your money, and never sign an exclusive deal. So any bureau who says they're going to sign you exclusively, one, they better be big time as all hell. Like they better be booking damn near Tony Robbins freaking celebrities, right? They better be big time as all hell if they say something like that to you. Other than that, just don't go with anyone exclusively. There's literally no reason to go with any bureau exclusively. Literally no reason whatsoever. All right. So just don't do anything like that. I do want to say, like I said, you get what you ask for. And this was actually a magician friend of mine years ago. He was really smart about this. So if you talk with a lot of speakers, they get pissed off when the bureau makes a lot more money than them. So let's say the bureau goes to you and they say, hey, we've got an event for you. We're going to give you $2,000. Are you cool with that? And the speaker's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Then all of a sudden the speaker goes to the event, they do their thing, they talk with the person, and later on they find out the bureau actually charged the event $15,000. And then they only gave the speaker $2,000 of that $15,000. The speaker's pissed off. What? How are you going to charge $15,000? Only give me $2,000? What the hell? Oh, hell no, right? And so a lot of speakers get pissed off at that. My friend, on the other hand, and I learned this a long time ago, my friend, he was like, here's what I tell bureaus. I tell them from the get-go, whatever I ask you for, whether it's $5,000, $10,000, whatever I ask you for, that's what I want. Other than that, you can upsell all you want. If I ask for $5,000 and you guys sell for $1 million, good for you. Good for you. Keep the rest of the money. That's your work right there. Right? And so he had a completely different state of mind than most entertainers and speakers. And he was getting booked a lot by a lot of bureaus and agencies. And so that was my state of mind as well. Whenever I talked to the bureaus, I would always tell them, like, hey, here's the fees for all this. So you got to kind of give them a fee or a fee range. And I would always follow up with, hey, if you guys can actually charge more for the event, go ahead, do it. I would just tell them, like, if you guys can make more money off of me, go ahead, do it. I don't care if you make double, triple, quadruple, $1 million. All that tells me is that if they made more money off me, let's say I charge $20,000 and they charge the client $100,000, what should that tell you? One, I mean, the biggest thing, it should tell you that you need to charge more. It tells you that people, clients, see you as more valuable than you see yourself. And so you need to start asking for more. It is not the bureau's fault for making as much money off of you as possible. That is their job. It is your fault for asking for less. And so you need to get that through your head. Tell the bureaus that, like, hey, man, if you guys want to charge 5 times the amount that I asked for and you can get it, go for it. Tell them that, because they're more likely to work with you. All right. And so let's see. You say, how do you find out if they charge the client more? I mean, the only way to find out if they charge the client more really is to ask the client. That's the only real way to know. There's really no other way to know. Just to yeah, just ask the client, like once you're at the event. So it's like, oh yeah, and by the way, like what do they charge you? So you can do that. Like you can literally do that at the event. See, Rich said book name. What book name? Did I mention a book? Oh yeah, I did mention a book. Felix Dennis, How to Get Rich. So it's called How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. It's a great book. All right. Let's see. You said, I'm on a few speaker bureaus websites, not getting any gigs. Yeah, exactly. So what Ari said is the same thing. Like just because you're on the bureau's website doesn't mean you're going to get the gigs. So you have to do the couple things. You have to make sure that they know when to recommend you in terms of saying, hey, I'm a motivational speaker. When people are looking for something different, entertaining, and they want like magic combined with speaking, that's when you recommend me. So the more specific you are with that, the more likely you're going to get recommended. And then at the same time, you want to do little things like add them on Facebook. And then when you add people on Facebook, they obviously got to accept it. And then they can like, now they kind of see your stuff and stuff. So it's like you add them on Facebook and then obviously like little things in terms of updating. So I would constantly send them emails in terms of like, hey, can you actually update my photo? Can you update my pricing? Can you update my bio? And so little things like that in terms of just kind of reminding them that you're there, right? And so just small things like that. And then on top of that, you can also send them your schedule. So like, let's say you book your own gigs. You can also say, hey, I just want to send you my schedule. Here's my updated schedule. That was one thing I actually did a lot. And you can only do this when you're booking gigs yourself. This is why they don't want to work for speakers who aren't booking gigs themselves pretty much. It's speakers who don't really need them. So what I would do a lot is I would always send them like, hey, can you update this, update this? Here's my schedule actually. And I would always send them my schedule. The only reason I could do that is because I was booked up. I was booking myself. I didn't need them to book me. And so it's like you can just send them your schedule like, all right, I've got an event these days and all that. And so these days I can't do stuff. And that's really all you're doing with them. When it comes to bureaus, I can't recommend this enough. You still need to learn how to book your own gigs. I think every speaker goes through the phase of when they start, they're like, let me just contact bureaus. I'll get on a bureau's website and then they'll fill up my schedule. I'll have a complete schedule instantly just because I work with a bureau. That's simply not how it works. You can be on their website and you just won't get any gigs. And so that's why you got to master the process yourself. So one of the reasons why I haven't talked about bureaus, because you still got to book yourself, right? And then what I would do is, what is this? Oh, okay. All right. So once let's say you actually get booked by the bureau for an event. This is where you can actually replace the other speakers and entertainers that they normally recommend as long as you do a great job at the event, right? So what I would do, and I call this talking good behind someone's back, right? So like, you know how people talk bad behind your back? They're like, oh, so-and-so, he's an idiot, right? What the heck? They're always talking bad behind your back. What you do is you talk good behind the speaker bureau's back. So you go to the person who you know that the speaker bureau communicated with. This is probably the main person at the event, and you talk good about the bureau. So you keep talking about them like, oh yeah, man, I was talking with so-and-so from the bureau. Man, they're so cool to work with. I mean, they're so easy and everything. I mean, I just love the fact of working with. So you talk good behind their back because that person is going to talk with the bureau later on. They're going to say, oh yeah, Benji, you had great things to say about you guys. They're going to think like, oh, really? That's awesome, right? And so you talk good behind their back because you know that the person that they're talking to is going to tell them that you talk good behind their back. So that was one of the first things that I would always do whenever I actually got hired by a bureau or entertainment agency, right? After that, at the event, in case you haven't already, make sure you're getting the video testimonials. So I would always get video testimonials. Once I got the video testimonials, I would obviously send them to the bureau. So the bureau, I get all these testimonials like, hey, loved it. Thanks for booking me. All right, here's a link to the testimonials. You can send this to them if you like and all that. Bam, good to go. And so that's what I did after I got the gig. But that's pretty much all it is in terms of working with bureaus. But once again, I want to stress this. You want to ignore bureaus. In the beginning especially, ignore bureaus because they will not work with you in the beginning. So you need to book yourself. You need systems like the Speak Pro Academy to book yourself. If you don't know how to get yourself booked, nobody will book you. You will not find a person to book gigs for you. You will not find a speaker bureau to book gigs for you. You simply won't get on stages enough for referrals. It won't work. You need your own systems. Literally something like Speak Pro Academy, you need your own systems to find and contact events to get booked consistently. Only then will bureaus actually want to work with you. And even then, you won't even need to work with them because you're like, dude, I don't have time for your bureau gigs because I'm booked up. I don't have time for it. And so you got to make sure that you're always booking yourself, and you don't really need bureaus. But that's pretty much the entire thing when it comes to speaker bureaus. She said, I love these ideas. How do I get a recording of this live session? Just go back to the Facebook Live. Once we're done, just go back and just click watch again, right? That's all you got to do. Make sure, Catherine, also make sure that you're on the email list, because I'll send out the replays and stuff sometimes on there. But once again, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, we are doing these Facebook Lives. So make sure you guys are here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Any other final questions? Let's see. Barbara said, glad this is recorded. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Any other final questions? I'll wait a few seconds. And once again, I want to stress the importance of level of details. And this is why I hate it when people say, and not just speakers, I mean people in general, in any business, realtors, insurance agents, anyone in any business. When people say, I get business through referrals, it's like referrals is one of the most BS excuses I've ever heard of. All that literally tells me is when someone says that to me, it literally means I have no idea how to get business. That's what they mean when people say I get business through word of mouth and referrals. It means I have no process for getting business. On the other hand, you need to build systems, build processes so you know exactly what to do. Look at the level of detail I could go into with speaker bureaus versus what other people will simply do. They'll say, oh yeah, all you got to do is contact a bureau and say, like, send them your bio and video, and then poof, all that. What you have to do when it comes to building systems, you have to get detailed. It's all about the details. If you're not getting detailed information, you're simply not going to be able to do it right. This is why if you guys aren't in the Speak Pro Academy, you have to join. I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing out on. You don't understand the level of detail that you need to engage in to get yourself booked and to get yourself booked consistently. It's not about just sending someone an email. It's about knowing what to say, the subject line, how to sound in demand, how to build your website the right way. It's about details. It's why I don't care when I give away so much information, because I know, one, people are going to forget the details, two, very few people are going to implement, and three, when they implement, they're going to probably do it wrong. And that's why I tell people, join the Speak Pro Academy so I can get you guys booked. All right. It's a level of details in your business that's going to allow you to get business. All right. So Maggie said, yes, 1,000 times right, guys. All right. So Rich said, what is the cost for a Speak Pro Academy? So if you go to speakproacademy.com, you'll see the pricing there. It is $2,000 per year or $5,000 for lifetime. So that's the cost, $2,000 per year or $5,000 for lifetime. It's like buying a franchise pretty much, with all the support that you need. It's why we talk in the group all the time, go over email conversations, everything you need to go over. I'm telling you, like, I almost find it funny when I give away so much information, because I literally think I know most people aren't going to do this, for one. Second, I know that people who do it, they won't be able to do it right because they don't know how to do it right. You can't see what you're doing wrong. It's almost like, imagine going to watch a magician, right? So go watch any magician. Go on America's Got Talent, Shin Lim, go watch David Copperfield, any one of these magicians. If you know nothing about magic, there's almost nothing you can do to figure it out. You just can't figure out how the trick is done. On the other hand, someone like me and any other magician watching this, we can look at it and we can instantly know. Like, we instantly see how it's done because we've just been, we just know. Like, it's just the knowledge built inside of our brains. And the same goes with getting yourself booked. You're going to be doing things and you simply won't know. You're like, I don't know how to make this cold email better. I don't know how to make my website better. You can't see what constitutes a great website. You just can't see it. It's why so many speakers say, I have a website, but it's not a great one, because they don't see what makes a great website. That's why if you're not in the Speak Pro Academy, you got to join, because I just tell you, here's what a great website is. All right, let's see. You said, after we join the Speak Pro Academy, how much time would you need to invest? How much time would you need to invest a week to see results? I know it sounds vague. Well, that depends on you. So like Maggie, for those of you who've seen Maggie comment, so like Maggie booked like 3 gigs in like 3 weeks and just recently got a $25,000 gig. I think she's been in the program for 2 months, maybe a little over 2 months or something like that, or I don't know, however long, but I mean, it wasn't that long, right? And she already got a $25,000 gig. Then there's other people who's been in the program for a year and they probably haven't booked a single gig because they don't do anything. So this is why I tell people, don't put the responsibility on me, right? It's on you. And this is why so many gurus, I want to pimp slap gurus, because all these gurus and mentors, they're putting no, I won't even go into that. But basically, understand that when you're building a business, the responsibility is on you. So all execution is about you. So if you want to see how fast you get results, I want to ask you, how fast are you going to actually work? Are you going to do the right things? Because I can't tell you how many times I told people inside Speak Pro Academy, change up your website, change up your website, change up your website. I go back 3 months later, they haven't done a damn thing to change up their website. So of course that person's not going to get any results. Whereas Maggie freaking like literally was like, all right, Maggie, get a new website. 2 days later, freaking new website, literally 2 days. And Maggie didn't know much about websites, right? And so that's what I'm talking about. When it comes to getting results, it's 100% dependent on you. I can't force you to do anything, right? And it's one of the reasons why I tell people there's absolutely zero refunds in Speak Pro Academy. Because if it doesn't work, it's because of you. 100% you. 100% your fault. Because I'm there helping you no matter what. I'm helping you with all the support inside the group. I'll record videos for your websites in terms of website reviews. I'll do as much as I possibly can. But if you're not posting inside the group, if you're not asking for help inside the group, if you're not sending out emails, if you're not building your website, you're damn right you won't get a single thing done. Whereas if you're like Maggie, if you're like Dave, if you're like Betsy, if you're like Elio, if you're like guys like them or people like them, you will get results. Is why I keep saying to everybody, I'm looking for the 1%ers. I'm looking for the people like Maggie who execute fast. I'm looking for the people who literally are the 1%, not the average. Because the average people in any program, any coaching program, online program, any event, anything, the average people in anything not only get zero results, they literally lose money because they invested money into the program and the coaching, whatever. They did absolutely nothing and they lost money. That is why they are average. And then there's the few, the 1%, who actually do something with it. So how long it takes depends 100% on you. That was a long ass answer for a short question. But all right. Any other final questions? But like I said, in terms of Speak Pro, I'm there to pretty much provide a ton of support. So if you guys are posting, if you ask questions inside the group, I answer them. If you don't, I don't answer. I can't answer. I'm not going to sit there and send you emails saying, hey, where are you at? Why aren't you posting inside the group? I'm not going to do that. I'm simply going to say, all right, a few people are posting. Those are the people I'm going to talk with. And like I said, I'm focusing on the 1%ers. Like everybody else, I'm ignoring. I'm ignoring. I'm looking for people I can brag about, right? All right, cool. So I guess we are good to go. No more questions in terms of today. Let's see. You said get a lot of return emails. All right. So, all right, we are good. You said, do you have a daily? All right. So Ari said, do you have a daily? Ari, so daily right here. Daily is right here. So Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. This is daily. All the Speak Pro members who watch this, I will answer your questions first. No questions asked, right? So any Speak Pro member who watches this, I will answer your questions first. Speak Pro members, hands down, get more of my time than everybody else. There's no question. So all you Speak Pro members, like right now, this video is Speak Pro members can watch this. Well, anyone can watch these Facebook Lives. And what I'm saying is that if you Speak Pro members have any questions, ask them right here. We're doing it every day, 9 a.m. Pacific time. The reason I'm doing it for everybody so everyone can actually see some of the work that's getting done. So if they want to execute as well, they can execute, follow along, and they won't get the level of attention. But still, I'm willing to help people who want help. That's what it comes down to. And I don't care if you're a Speak Pro member or you're not a Speak Pro member. If you want help, I'll help you. Speak Pro members will get way more help, obviously. And then everyone else, I will simply ignore everybody else. That's hands down how I operate. So you said, can you address some of the perks of the program? So Rich, if you go to speakproacademy.com, you'll see everything inside the program. You'll see things like, actually here, let me just do it. Shoot. Might as well just do it, right? So let me show you. Let's let this thing load real quick. But the biggest perk of the Speak Pro Academy is literally having a mentor to help you along the way. That's the biggest perk of the Speak Pro Academy, because like I said, no matter what you do in terms of the process, whether you build a website, there's two things you got to do. You build a website and then you do outreach. Build a website, send cold emails. That's how you fill up your entire schedule. Now it comes down to details, right? And so that's why the biggest thing is the support. So like here, so you get all the training here. So there's like a ton of freaking training in here. So I actually see all these programs here. This is just some of the stuff. Whenever I upload more, you guys get access to those as well. But there's obviously a ton of training. You get things like the website templates. Oh, whoops, I don't have that here. But here, all right. So like website layouts, a ton of resources. You get photos and graphics. Like here, the photos, right? So this is something I was talking about with another speaker on a call, where he mentioned he didn't actually have pictures of him on stage or anything like that. So how do you actually get those pictures to put on your website? So we have pictures like that for you guys. Honestly, there's so much in here. There's no doubt that you will be overwhelmed. There's no doubt you'll be overwhelmed, which is why I tell everyone join the Facebook group and post in the Facebook group so we can go over what it is you're doing. So I can kind of guide you along the way. Say, all right, your next step is the website. Your next step is a CRM. Your next step is the email templates. Your next step is sales cadence. And so it's like, so I can guide you inside the group, right? That's the biggest thing. You said the amount of material is huge. Yeah, so Glenn, he's a member. He understands. Like I said, you will be overwhelmed by how much is in there, which is why you need to join the Facebook group where I can say, do these things, right? All right, cool. So speakproacademy.com if you guys want to join. Monday through Friday, we are doing these Facebook Lives. And for all you Speak Pro members saying, hey, are we doing daily lives and stuff? We're doing daily damn lives right here. Watch these live videos, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Ask some questions on these videos, right? We're doing daily lives, Monday through Friday, right? Just because other people can see it doesn't mean you can't ask questions. If I need you guys to go into detail about stuff in terms of email conversations, I'll have you posted inside the group. But in terms of any other questions, you can ask them right here. All right. Monday through Friday. You said, what is the Facebook group called? Ari, aren't you inside the Facebook group? Just Google, or Ari, if you go to, so let me show you. So if you go back inside Speak Pro Academy, click on the mastermind calls here's the Facebook group link. So it's this link. And I don't care if you guys see this. Anyone who's not a Speak Pro member, I'll just deny your ass. So don't actually try to join. I'll literally just deny your ass. So just make sure you're actually a member. So Ari, yeah, just go to that link, and then you're good to go. All right. So Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, we are doing the Facebook Lives. I will see you guys tomorrow. What are we talking about tomorrow? All right. So we're talking about something tomorrow. 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody.